Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm Laura Lee Collet, and you are having lunch with Laura. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I have to show off my little Halloween hat I made last year. Halloween is my most famous and favorite holiday of the autumn season. I love fall, but especially dressing up. Now, I didn't do the makeup today, but maybe that'll come later. But I just wanted you to see how cute it is. And we made this for a crop that was Halloween sponsored last year in Sulphur, Louisiana, and we had a blast. So, that being said, today we are going to be doing a Halloween card. And I am going to fix my camera so that hopefully you will be seeing what you're supposed to. There's a little lag here, so let's see. Okay, it's right side up and you're not having to crane your neck. Let me put it a little more this way so that you can see. And this Halloween card could either be made happy or scary or whatever. So I've got a little of both there. The set that I made it from is a new set in the mini catalog that runs until January the 4th. And it's called Hallows Night Magic. It has some beautiful graphics, scary spiders, open if you dare, happy Halloween. There's magic in the air and trick or treat. And even the bats are decorated. So this is the stamp set. It comes in a bundle for 10% off with the coordinating dies. So we're going to be using this die that makes a little frame, the big bats, and the little bats. And the cool thing is you can cut out 3 at once or 2 at one time with that. So let's get started. And okay, I embossed the smoky slate and then added everything to it. And on the inside, I put a piece of white whisper white cardstock with a big bat. Okay, I'm going to set my card aside. In today's card, I cut hot dog style so that it's long. You can get 2 out of 1 piece of paper. And this is smoky slate. It's cut at 4 1/4 by 11. And it's scored at 5 1/2. Then we'll be using the whisper white, which is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and that'll go on the inside. We're also using basic black, and this will be for our little sentiment that we have here. So let's see, I'm going to use our Memento ink, and this is a new ink pad, and they're a little bit juicy in the beginning, so kind of be careful, and you can test it out on a scrap of paper to make sure. And I stamped it like so. Okay, that looks like it's going to be good. And sometimes these big ones I turn upside down, sometimes I don't. But you're going to do this little frame first. And then we'll put the Halloween in there. The fonts are absolutely gorgeous with this set. Okay, oops, I got a little smudge there that will be covered up by the bat, or I'll put a pearl on there. Next, we have our Happy Halloween. And I'm going to put it right there, stamping down and up. See, that's almost hidden there anyway. Okay, I'm going to close that up and set it aside. Now this one, any of the stamp pads that are not Stampin' Up's design need to be stored upside down so that you will have the ink at the top of the pad when you open it. Okay, the next thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and set up my cut and emboss machine, and we're going to, the first thing I want to do is, oops, there it is. Always set things aside and don't know where they are. Okay, I'm going to raise this up just a little bit to give you a better view. Now I am taking, this is called Cobwebs. Very appropriate name, and it does a really fine job of embossing. I only want to emboss the front of my card. So I'm going to put it in like so and get this edge up along the crease. Okay. Now this is one of our thicker embossing pads, and I want to show you what our plate number 1 says. The first directions that it gives are for the dies. The second is for the embossing folders. It says to use platform 1, then one of the plates that's number 3, put your cardstock with your embossing folder in, and then the 3 on top. Well, when I tried this last night, it didn't work. It was too thick. So what I did was I put plate number 1, plate number 2. Then I put in my piece that I want to emboss, and I'm putting the fold in first, then putting the third plate, or the number 3 plate down. Okay, and it's a little stiff, but you're going to be amazed at the beautiful job it does. Okay, and it does make that snapping sound. So let's see what we got. Oh, look at that. Can you see the raised embossed image? The other side is beautiful too, but this is the side I want to show. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, while I've got this set up, I'm going to go ahead and do my cutting on my, for my sentiment and for the bats. Now, going back to the sandwich that you're making, you're going to put plate 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put this and my die down, and because I want it to not shift or move during the cranking of the machine, I am going to use a little of my tape. You can use washi tape or whatever you have, but it needs to be something that ain't gonna damage it when you pull it off. Okay, I'm gonna put that up there because I wanna have room to do my bats. I'm gonna turn that sideways. And let me push this up a little bit. Okay, so we've got the 2 bats there and 3 bats here. This would be good to use a scrap of paper on. Next, put the top of the sandwich on. Got everything lined up. There we go. And give it a little push. Okay. Now, there goes one of my okay. Pick that up before my little Ziggy Piggy French Bulldog gets a hold of it. Ooh, last night she got in some trouble. I was having stamp class, and I did not know that Bobo, better known as Rod, my husband, had gone to bed and wasn't watching her. And I kept hearing her barking. She loves to bark at toys. And I didn't think anything about it. I went in there in a little while. She had found my dust mop. And I had pieces of dust mop all over the living room floor. And of course, when I reprimanded her, you can't be mad at them. They are so adorable. She put her little paws down and put her head on her paws and looked up at me. Oh my gosh, my heart just melts. Okay, well, that was a little squirrel moment. Now, I seem to have lost some of my bats, but we will make do with what we have. They probably flew on the floor. In fact, here's one now. And the other one. And I'm hearing my mother's voice. She's telling me, it's your fingernails. You need to cut your fingernails. All right, Mama, I know that's the reason I couldn't pick them up. Do you hear your mother talking to you? Mine does all the time. Okay, let's see. We've got our gorgeous card here. And I am going to use my fingers. I don't want to ruin any of that. And the next thing I'm going to do is put down the strips of paper that came with the Hallows Night Magic, I believe that's the name of it, cardstock DSP, that is just beautiful. And what I'm going to do is take, actually there were, let's see, 2 different pieces of paper that I just alternated and made up the way I wanted it. And I think that's the pattern that I'm gonna have. I cut them because they're diagonal. I cut them a little bit longer. And I also want to put our tear and tape on them so that they will, because sometimes when you don't have enough surface to surface bonding, it won't stay stuck down. And we don't want that flying off with the bats. So I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna put my little silicone sheet down so I don't get anything stuck where it shouldn't be. And I think I'm gonna start with this one. Okay. I'm gonna leave a little bit, and you can either cut it or just tear it like I just did. Okay, so let's see. This one needs to be like that. This one here, and this one here. Now, since it's double stick, you need to take your bone folder or a pair of scissors or something and burnish the ends a little bit so that it really sticks down, and then you can peel away. I'm not going to use my fingernails, Mama. I'm going to use the this little thingy here. All right, I'm pulling that one off. It's probably a good idea to go ahead and put it down. And, ooh, that one has spiders. Okay, so I'm going to put it right across about the middle. Okay. Then I'm going to take the next one. Take that end off. See how that works real well? It makes it stick to what you want it to stick to. And then you can peel that other piece off. Okay. Next, I'm going to put see, I didn't get the edge of it. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to put that last, I think. I think I'm going to do this one next. So you can put them in any order you want to. Okay, and here we go. So I'm going to put this one next. And I guess you know, but let me refresh your memory in case you don't. It's called Magic in the Night Designer Series paper. And a lot of times I use the colors that are printed right down here on the description to figure out which colors I'm going to use in my card. And this has Basic Black, Blackberry Bliss, Cajun Craze, Pretty Peacock, and Whisper White. Okay. Now, I'm going to put, that one's too low. I'm going to put it up here. Okay. Now we've got them placed. And you can either take your cutter or our paper snips. They're really great. And just trim off the excess. Okay. And on this side, perfect. Now I'm going to get all those little pieces out of the way so that I don't see I've already stuck one to my card. Okay, so that can go there. Let's see, we didn't look at how beautifully this little die cut out our sentiment. I think that's so pretty. And I wanted to color these with Blackberry Bliss for the flowers, and I'm going to use the light. And just go around. There are only 3 flowers, so that doesn't take any time at all. In fact, I like using the smaller end. You've got a little bit more control. Okay, there. And here, and then I wanted to use our new color that is called Just Jade, and there is Just Jade. Well, I didn't have it, it's on back order. So the blend I chose to use, I just went through until I found one that complemented or would go with that, and it's Mint Macron that I'm going to be using, and I'm using the darker blend. And I'm just going to add a little color right there. Down here. I have really started using my blends more. There's so much to color in the catalog, and it's so much fun. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. If anybody comments that you got out of the line, tell them you meant to do that. Okay? That solves that problem, and that usually shuts them up. Okay, let me clear off my table. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back, and I'm using the edge of my, oops, still have sticky stuff there. I'm using the edges of my dimensionals. I use up every bit of it. So I'm going to put about 4 pieces here. And then, let me get a sip of coffee. I'm still drinking coffee, can you believe it? I'm usually through by this time. And wait until my 4 o'clock cup. Okay, now I'm going to put this, and you can look at the one I did before, and I'm just going to put it just a little bit above in the center. Now, the fun part. I'm going to use our glue dots for the bats. And see how I told you I was going to cover up that little boo-boo right there? And I learned at, I think, one of the crops I went to that a mistake is only an excuse for an embellishment. And I really like that. Okay, now, let's see, we've got our other bats are somewhere. And, well, oh, there they are. These are tiny. So you may need to roll this between your finger and then stick it on the bat. Then, I don't know how I wound up with 3 of the big ones, but I did. And I'm going to save one of those, like I said, for the inside. Okay, now, what is a card that I make without a little bling? And here we go. Y'all are going to die. These are our iridescent pearls. Look at them. They could be used on almost anything you wanted to use. And don't see my pick tool right here, so I'm just going to put a couple down. Let's see, I want them to show real good. Let's put one there, put one up here. Oops, well, oh, there it is. Oops, there's Ziggy. Shh. Can't you see I'm having class here? Okay, so there you go. You could even put some in the middle. And let's put down our, oops, let's do it here. Okay, remember on this tape, you've got to make sure it's going to roll. Okay. And break it. Either pulling it straight up or to the side. Oops, that wasn't the one I wanted to do. So, we're going to, here it is, and I'll tell you about this one in a minute. Well, that was special. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to use my glue dots again to put down this big old bat. And then you can write your sentiment, your little message on the inside. Okay, so there you have the card. And there are a few things I wanted to share with you before I say adieu to the end of your lunch 30 minutes or hour that you have. Okay, I like to keep a sample of all the cardstock. The way that I store my cardstock in my filing cabinet, my ink pads, even my blends is by color. So the RGB BIV or whatever that is, where and I start off with pink, then go into the roses, the reds, some browns or rust colors. Then you get into the yellows, the greens, blues, purples. Aren't they beautiful? And then your neutrals. And that way, if I'm out of something, I can use this to kind of give me a guide as to what color I could substitute. So that's just a handy thing that I like to keep around and use. And I think that could be all I have to tell you today. Can you believe it? And I'm going to put these right here so you can get another look. Get the big bats out of the way. Oh, I was thinking that this was my inside card, but it wasn't. This is a card that I cut out of cheap contraband cardstock. I cut it 4 by 5 1/4. And this goes over anything that I mail that has embellishments. Sometimes they tend to shift in the stamp machines. So I put that on top, stuff it all in the envelope. And by cutting it a little bit narrower, it's easy to put in. But I'm not going to be able to use this one. That one's going to be a discard for good. Okay. I am going to see if I can switch back to maybe not, but anyway, we don't need to do that. I'm not sure how to get back to the original orientation, but I just want to thank you for, if any of you watched the one last week and had to watch it sideways, I apologize. I hope your neck didn't hurt, but go to YouTube. I'm putting all of my videos there that you can look up and see any of the things that I've done. So until we meet again next Thursday, have a great week. I think I heard we're supposed to be getting some cooler weather, so let's say prayers and keep our fingers crossed and get ready for Halloween. It's coming. Oh, I need to share this with you too. My September host code. You can find me at stampinatthebirdnest.com. And when you look and shop around, I've got my gallery there. There's lots of information, catalogs. But when you go to check out, you're going to see host code. And if you'll just hover your mouse over that, you will be able to, it'll pop up and a box will show. Uh-oh, and I see we're backwards on that screen. Well, anyway, almost 100%. So, thanks again. See you next week with another card and lunch with Laura. Bye.